Today's lecture is going to be about tools used in the living environment class. Some of the common tools we use are microscopes and slides, rulers to measure length, beakers and hot plates to heat up different liquids, test tubes to conduct our experiments, as well as petri dishes to conduct other experiments, typically bacterial growth in petri dishes, graduated cylinders to measure the volume of a liquid, balances to measure the mass, and indicators to test for specific substances. How to use rulers. In living environment, we're mainly going to use the metric system, meaning that we're going to be looking at meters, centimeters, and millimeters. The ruler in front of you, you'll see 0, 1, 2, 3. These represent centimeters. The little lines in between, you'll see that there are 10 lines from the 0 all the way to the 1. Each of those represent 1 millimeter. So if you look here, 1 millimeter is right there, as opposed to 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. Careful with the edge of the ruler that when you're using to measure that you're actually starting with 0 if that's where you're starting from. However, you don't have to start with 0. You can see our snail here actually starts at 0.5 or 5 millimeters or 0.5 centimeters. And you'll see that our snail extends all the way to about 2.5 centimeters or 25 millimeters. So the length of our snail is 2 centimeters, or you could say 20 millimeters. How to use graduated cylinders. Similar to a ruler, on a graduated cylinder, there are lines that you have to determine the scale on the cylinder. And if you look here, that we see that from 15 to 20, that there are 5 lines, so that means each line is worth 1 milliliter. Now, when reading the volume of liquid, we always look at the bottom of the meniscus. So right here, and we get it should be about 21.5 milliliters, because again, it's in between the 21 and the 22, so we estimate the 0.5. How to use an electronic balance. Typically, the items that we're going to be massing, we're not going to put directly onto the balance. Instead, we're going to put a container on the balance. Then, we'll hit the 0 button to subtract the mass of the container. Then, we'll add the substance to that container and record the final mass. This ensures that we keep the balance clean, as well as get an accurate measurement of whatever it is that we're massing. How to use a microscope. Microscopes obviously are going to magnify the specimens that we put on the slides, and they're going to use the illuminator or the light source underneath so that we can see the substance. So it's important that the slide that you make, it's a very thin piece of the specimen so that the light can shine through. We're going to start with the objective lens on the lowest power. That means the shortest objective. You're then going to focus using the coarse adjustment knob, which is the larger knob, to bring the slide into focus and also move the slide around to find where the specimen is. You're going to record the image. Then you're going to switch using the objective lens again. You'll turn that nose piece to high power. Do not at this point move the slide or use the coarse adjustment knob, because it could damage the microscope and could also bring your specimen out of focus. Instead, you'll use the fine adjustment or fine focus knob when you're in high power. So to summarize, low versus high power. Low power, you're going to get less detail, a larger field of view. High power, you're going to have greater detail, a smaller field of view. In low power, we use the coarse adjustment knob, which means it brings the entire body of the microscope up and down. As opposed to high power, you do not use the coarse adjustment knob because we don't want to break the slide or the microscope. So instead we use the fine adjustment knob. And we can see here what happens. The figure on the left is low power. The figure on the right shows us a zoomed in high power. And those are the tools that we use in Living Environment.